All right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And depending on which part of the world you are tuning in from. So welcome to the 23rd edition of TCRM Conversations with Esau Bassi. TCRM Conversations is an initiative of the Cross River Movement, which is aimed at engaging and exchanging ideas that can foster the development of Cross River State. So today we're going to be talking about sanitation and the environment, or the environment and sanitation. And this is to mark the World Environment Day 2024, which was on the 5th of June. So our focus is going to be on the environment in Cross River State, today. So Cross River State, we know, is renowned for its rich biodiversity, one of the most biodiverse places in Nigeria, if not the most biodiverse. So the state is known for its rich biodiversity and natural beauty, but it has also faced challenges relating to environmental degradation and sanitation as well. These issues impact on public health, economic development, and the overall quality of life of residents in the state. And effective governance and community engagement are crucial in addressing these challenges. And this is one of the reasons why, we deemed it fit to host a conversation around this topic. Before I go into the conversation, I'm just going to go over a few ground rules. So everyone except for the facilitator and the panelists will be muted while this event is in progress on Zoom. If you have a question to ask any of the panelists, please use the reactions button at the top or the bottom of your Zoom application to raise your hand, and we will unmute you and give you the opportunity to ask your question. And we will give preference to those who have their videos on. So we'd like to have engagement. So we prefer it if your video is turned on. And once you're done asking your question, we would, please request that you lower your hand so that we don't think that you have another question. If you're on Zoom, please feel free to use the comments section to share any comments or questions that you may have. But we urge you to please keep your questions and your comments civil and respectful. If you're following us on YouTube, X, or Facebook, or whatever other platform, would love you to engage with us. Would love you to comment. Would love you to drop your questions as well. And again, please keep them civil and respectful. We are streaming this event live on Sparkling FM 92.3, and if you're listening on Sparkling FM, and you would like to participate, you'd like to ask a question, or you'd like to share your thoughts, you can do so by sending a WhatsApp message to 0806 756 6448. I'll repeat that. It's 0806 756 6448. Now, if you have a topic that you would like to propose for us to have a future conversation around, drop it in the comment section or get in touch with a member of our team, and we'll be happy to get your feedback. Now, the last but not the least, regardless of which platform you're joining us from, whether it is Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, X, whatever, please drop your name and in the comment section, and also tell us where you're joining in from. So I'm going to be watching the Zoom chat right now to see how many people actually do that. So drop your name in the comment section and tell us where you're tuning in from, whether you're in Calabar, you're in Ikom, you're in Etung, you're in Lagos, you're in America, wherever it is. Let's just know. We'd like to have an indication of where people are coming in from. Okay, so that's out of the way. I will introduce our speakers, and once I've done that, I will play a brief video before we open up the conversation. So our, well, not speakers, but say our panelists today, we have the Honorable Commissioner for the Environment, Honorable Moses Osoji. I believe the Honorable Commissioner had to travel at short notice and sent a representative from the Ministry of Environment. So if you're here from the Ministry of Environment, please, would appreciate if you can, drop a comment and let us know that you're here. We also have Dr. Mrs. Anna Etta, who's an associate professor and an environmental activist. We also have Mr. Emmanuel Owan, who is an environmentalist and a senior officer at Nigeria Conservation Foundation. And last but not the least, we have Mary Alolo Ikum, who is the founder of Alolo 365. That, Mary, you may wish to clarify, involved in, recycled textile, and you're also an environmental advocate. So let me use this opportunity to welcome our panelists and also to welcome everyone who has joined us today for this conversation. What I would like to say is that I expect this to be a very engaging conversation. I expect it to be a very frank, engagement. I expect people to contribute because I think this is something that touches on the hearts of Cross Riverians very much, the environment and sanitation as well. Okay, so if you bear with me, I will just play a brief video, which is a vox pop. We sent our volunteers out to the streets of Calabar to gauge public opinion on this very subject, and would like to share that with you now. Okay, just bear with me a second.
Hi everyone, my name is Mary, a volunteer with the Cross River Movement. So today we are out in the streets of Calabar to get the opinions of what people think about the environment of Cross River State. So follow me as I get the opinions of others. Please, can you describe the environmental state in Cross River?
I think because of our new governor, things are beginning to seem a lot better than the way it used to seem before. I know the environment is looking a little bit dirty right now, but it's a market, so you're supposed to know how it is. But the highways and the normal roads that we use, at least they are clean, and the dustbin everything is looking hygienic. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting better.
The environment is not conducive. It's very dirty. It's not okay in Cross River State now compared to before.
Okay, I will describe, though right now it's kind of a little bit like conducive, but before now it was really bad. So I think the present governor is really trying.
Well, I thank God for the new government of River State, especially our governor, Prince Bassey. So everything is going well.
Okay, ma'am. And what do you think are the major sources of this pollution, the major factors that leads to this environment being polluted?
It's individuals. They don't take care of the environment by themselves. It's the individual, especially the gutters. When rain is falling, that is where they'll go and put their this thing inside.
I think the deforestation is a bad thing, limiting oxygen and all of that. Deforestation is not a good thing to do, and when we practice or when people do that, animals, wildlife tend to run away, and then all of that, we no longer have places where people can go to see virgin forest and all of that. So it's really bad. and it's reducing the resources that Cross Riverians have.
Has government in any way, contributed to this environmental pollution, like limit or, pull out any forces or whatever to limit the pollution?
I don't think so. I've not heard. Don't think so. They are not doing it. Compared to before, anywhere you want to drop maybe nylon or something, they'll come after you. But now it's not like that again.
Do ahead of environmental monitoring and program, but I don't think it's really effective.
Sanitation every last Saturday of the month is really help the estate to be clean.
What have you been able to do to limit the pollution?
I just have a refuge container where I put my refuge and I will dispose it properly.
Okay, individually, keeping your environment clean and sanitation too, and also trying to kind of, dumping all these waste products properly.
I'm glad you've heard people's opinion on the environmental state of Cross River State. Thank you for being with us. My name is Mary. We hope to see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mary. Really exciting. Okay. So we have Dr. Ayo Rockedet. Yes, sir, you can unmute yourself. Please go ahead and unmute yourself. Just hold on, just bear with us a second to just sort out a couple of things. All right, okay, I've unmuted you, sir. Okay, so welcome to this conversation, sir. I understand you're representing the Honorable Commissioner for Environment. So are you able to let us know that you can you hear me? And
yeah, I can hear you, just that I'm not with my earpiece, but I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you clearly also. So I think we can go ahead with the conversation. Although we are not seeing you, we are seeing yes, okay, now we can see you, sir. All right, so I think the first thing that we like to do when we invite public officials on the conversations is to find out from them what the priorities of the administration are, with regard to the topic under discussion. So if you want to take maybe a couple of minutes to share with us the priorities of the government of His Excellency Senator Prince Bassio too. Would love to hear that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry that I joined quite late due to some technical issues. First, the World Environment Day, the theme for 2024 is land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. First is the land restoration. The priority of the state government, Cross River State Government, under His Excellency Senator Prince Bassio too, is to see that there is reforestation of the state. You know that Cross River State is known for harboring a biodiversity sanctuary and biodiversity hotspot in the world. And the state government have observed that over time there had been a lot of deforestation. So the emphasis there is to reforestate the area, discourage deforestation, which is under land. And in the land restoration thing, the government is very serious about it under the Commissioner for Environment, Honorable Moses Osogi. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So the key thing is that the area, most of the area in the state have been deforested. And as a result, with going with the theme of the world environment, the land restoration, it means that there have been degradation before you talk of restoring the area. Restoration is restoring the area back to what it used to be. And that means we must encourage reforestation and discourage deforestation. So that is one of the cardinal things about the government, the priority of Cross River State government under His Excellency Senator Basil Rotu. Another thing is that, in this effort, the land is the issue. Land is the issue. Desertification is not the problem in this area. Is the problem of the northern region of Nigeria and other parts of the world. So the key message, what the state government is really fighting for, is to reposition our forest ecosystem by ensuring that there is collective effort in restoring our land. I could remember quite well when, during the new map era, where a lot of degraded areas in the states, like in Calabar Metropolis, we have more than 8 locations that have been highly degraded, from Ikorekpo, Ikorawatum, Atakpa area, this area in Lemna. They are all evidences of deforestation and evidence of gully erosion, which is about land. So new map, in partnership with the state, ensure that those areas were restored to its original status. Areas like Ejimoto also had the same issue. So the priority of the state government is to see that they discourage as much as possible the deforestation in the state, because a lot of timbers have gone out of the state, a lot illegally done. And okay, remember the state government placed a ban on deforestation sometime in its earlier stage of the administration. But government is still working hard because it needs a lot of institutional and infrastructural support system to carry on this process. Hello.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your answer to that question. What I think would be useful for guests on this conversation is to understand exactly what the role of the Ministry of Environment is. So I know
the role of what?
Of the Ministry of Environment, okay? And
okay,
I know the ministry also has some agencies that it supervises. Maybe you may wish to speak about those agencies and what each of those agencies are responsible for.
Yeah, the core mandate of the ministry is regulatory and supportive role. That is the core mandate of the ministry, is to play a regulatory and supervisory role. Regulatory in the sense that it has to regulate who are the actors in helping the ministry to carry out this exercise and mandate. For instance, for every project that comes into the state that has to do with the environment, because every project that comes into the state has impact on the environment. Therefore, their role is statutorily regulatory and supervisory role. And for instance, like the waste, in terms of waste, we have Cross River State Waste Management Agency. That in terms of waste, because this waste, once it is on the land, is land abuse. And you know that apart from that too, the communities, the local communities have also a role to play in land restoration. For instance, there are a lot of communities that have evil forests. And by that evil forest means that nobody should enter. it becomes a conservation, areas for conservation. And sometimes community will help by creating awareness that, look, don't go to that forest, don't go to that area, it is an evil forest. Or sometimes some community will go and put injunction, traditional injunction, not to enter. They will go and put, for instance, and say nobody should enter. If you enter there, this is what will happen traditionally. That is in terms of tradition. But in terms of government also have its own rule too, like House of Assembly, from time to time, they bring out legislation against abusing the land or abusing the forest resources, because that is a key natural asset of the state.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. You mentioned the Cross River State Waste Management Agencies as one of the agencies that you supervise. Is this the only agency? And if it is, maybe you want to go into details about specifically what this agency is in charge of.
Mr. What?
So besides the Cross River State Waste Management Agency, is there on any other agency supervised by the Ministry of Environment?
We don't have other agency apart from waste. We don't have apart from I think that is only statutory agency that have Cross River State Waste Management Agency. They are also, because in the balance of Federal Ministry of Environment, we usually take them, they are waste contractors. Other contractors, those who are managing the waste on contractual basis, are under them, and they report to the State Ministry of Environment. Like, okay, you can see those managing, you can see person, you can see other waste contractors in the state trying to manage their waste. But statutorily, we have Cross River State Ministry of Waste Management Agency.
Okay, thank you. Someone just asked a question. What about the Forestry Commission? Is the Forestry Commission supervised by the Ministry of Environment?
Yeah, the Forestry Commission, they have their relationship is intertwined. The Forestry Commission is solely for forests, but environment, forest resources are under environment. But the key mandate of the Cross River State Ministry of Environment is to manage the forest resources, which is why environment, all of them are under, or seem to be under environment. You know, there are 4 sectors of sub-sectors of agriculture. We have crop, we have livestock, we have forestry, and we have fishery. But ideally,
we're listening to you, sir. Okay. Yes, sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Ideally, the Forestry Commission is supposed to be under environment, because when you are carrying out deforestation exercise, it's part of its environment you are dealing with. All of them are under environment. But I'm surprised even with the separation, because Cross River State's Forestry Commission seem to be on its own, but they are solely responsible for forest resources, while environment deal on all.
Okay. All right. Before I bring in Dr. Mrs. Anna Etta, I think just one more question for you, which is, so the current administration is sorry, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you. I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I'll come back to you, but I have one question which I'd like to ask you before I go on to Dr. Mrs. Anna Etta. And the administration, the current administration is into its 2nd year now. Are you able to highlight certain specific achievements of the Ministry of Environment from, since the inception of the current administration?
Okay. You mean the achievement of the Cross River State Ministry of Environment since the
Yes.
current administration?
Yeah.
Yeah, the achievement is laudable. First, the Ministry of Environment has been able to restore more.
I think the director must be having issues.
I mean, statewide. Can you hear me? Sorry, call came in. Hello?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
The Cross River State Ministry of Environment have achieved enormous. I've achieved so much since the inception of this present administration, which is barely 1 year in office. The ministry have been carrying out several functions. One of it is the statewide monthly sanitation exercise. Statewide monthly exercise, which have not taken place in the previous administration. It has done a lot in that area, that is statewide. Secondly, is the weekly sanitation exercise for the market. This is because the market generates tons of waste weekly. And if you wait for every last Saturday of the month, it means that the market will become impassable. And that will create a lot of issues, a lot of sanitary and hygienic issues in the market. The monthly sanitation exercise, the model that the state Ministry of Environment have modeled is such that everybody is involved. Because after all, the Bible says cleanness is next of godliness. The model we have designed in such a way that we have created awareness, even on the media, that you should be part of the statewide monthly sanitation exercise going on simultaneously across the 18 local government areas of the state. We have been able to make awareness on landlords, market women, traditional rulers, for them to be part of that exercise. So it has achieved most in that area. And it also, apart from that area too, the ministry is also looking at those project areas, like the quarries that have been dug and left pits. It's a concern, although that is the mining sector, but it has also to do with the environment. Because in the mining sector, we have what we call MEC, Mines Environmental Compliance Unit, as a unit. So this is how it has to do with the environment. And beside that, to those dredging along the shorelines illegally, the state government has also extended an invitation to them for them to come and let the government know their intention, because dredging has to do with removal of debris, removal of sediment from the floor, from the sea floor. So it's part of that. So there is no week that the Cross River State Ministry of Environment will not give a radio talk or the other. So that for people to know that the Ministry of Environment is up again, and the administration of His Excellency Senator Basi Ederotu is very serious with the issue of environment. We have set a pace for ourselves. We have set a very wide gap for ourselves, for ourselves, that we want the state to be the cleanest in the country and one of the cleanest in Africa. We want to go back to that record. We want to win. We want to have a patent as far as monthly sanitation exercise is concerned in the country and Africa as a continent.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
The achievement of this the Ministry of Environment is laudable, very laudable and very clear, and the awareness is growing because of what we are doing on radio and the media. The awareness is really growing, and you can see that for the sanitation, we have been able to set mobile cops to try people, the offenders, to try the environment, those who have defaulted in one way or the other. It goes, and then that is the enforcement aspect of it, so that people will be aware, citizens will be aware that this exercise is a serious one.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, scoring yourself highly by, saying that the achievements are laudable. But what I usually say to public officials is that we'd like to hear from the people of Cross River State themselves. I think if they say it's laudable, then we will support you in your assertion. All right, so like I thought, this is going to be a very engaging conversation. Already I can see hands up. The chat section has been buzzing. So if you're just joining us, please drop your name and where it is you're joining us from in the comments section, whether you're on Zoom, you're on X, or Facebook or YouTube, so that we have an idea where people joining from. I would like to bring in Dr. Mrs. Hannah Etta. Mary, kindly be patient. Dr. Etta, you deal with, as an academic, you deal with facts, figures, you do research. Are you able to tell us your assessment of the current state of the environment in Cross River? It looks like Dr. Etta may have dropped off. I understand she's in transit, so maybe her network might not be holding up as we expect. Okay, Mary, I'll come to you. You're an environmental activist and you live in Calabar. So I'd like to hear from you where you think the current state of the environment is in Cross River. And I know Cross Riverians are particularly passionate about waste disposal, especially in Calabar, because at some point a certain standard was set. Where would you say things are with regard to the environment and sanitation in Cross River State?
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. From Cross River State, from observations, current waste management practices are not very commendable, I would say. I will give a few instances. If you go along the from Marian Market, for instance, there is a lot of waste around there. If you go along certain streets like Ejiba, I also know along the IBB Airport Way, there are waste disposals, like residents dump their waste on access roads. And if you go towards the Atimbo Way as well, you still find a lot of refuse dump. Now, sometimes you see this on for weeks, right? Sometimes 5 days ongoing. And some of these areas are closer to mini markets, which a lot of waste is generated, just like the director rightly said. And so before now, we know that the state has set that standard of being the cleanest state, but we know that the past few years, we have struggled with waste management. So I would say currently we are not working at our optimum in terms of our waste management practices, both in our homes and in our neighborhoods and even the states generally. And I believe there's a lot we can still do to get to where we get to be.
Mary, thank you for that honest, very frank assessment. I think I will go back to the commissioner, because I think the commissioner on one hand said that the achievements are very laudable, and we're hearing from you, a citizen, someone who lives in Calabar, saying that there's quite a lot to do on the part of the ministry. Commissioner or director, sorry, I don't know if you want to respond to what Mary has said.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary. Welcome you. First, we know that we have been able to procure waste receptacle, which is part of the problem. Some areas have had theirs, and we observe that, which we are still trying to appeal to residents in Cross River State, especially in the Calabar metropolis, that they should always dump their waste in the refuse dump, in the receptacle, not to put it on the ground. Some of the contractors evacuating the waste, we have one problem and one complaint on the other. Oh, we cannot go there. But currently, what we are doing now, we are trying to do waste tracking. We have commenced the exercise of waste tracking so that I can sit down in my office, or the commissioner can sit down in his office, and then know where these wastes are. That, in other words, we are trying to digitalize the waste management, the waste evacuation exercise. We know that there are some areas where the waste dump, the waste receptacle are bad, and we evacuated those ones. So pockets of those areas where you find those waste, as you mentioned, we have procured more than 300 waste receptacle for those areas whose waste have been damaged or are non-existent. Because there are some areas where you find waste. If you go around, you see that there are some areas that you never imagine you will find waste. The community will dump the waste there and go away. So we are trying to get, we have procured receptacles, waste receptacles for the municipality to man. Apart from that, other areas in the local government, across the local government areas in the state, I think that is part of what we're trying to address now. But just like I said, Cross River State is known to be ancestrally beautiful, green, and clean. So in a bid to do that, there will still find some challenges, especially with the waste evacuators trying to evacuate this waste. But look, just as I said, as a challenge, we have procured those waste receptacles, and then we have also tried to see how we can create more awareness, just like this program is going on now, is an awareness exercise, to let residents know that you do not throw your waste on the floor, rather you put it in the waste receptacle. And we have also spoken with the various waste evacuation contractors on timely evacuation of waste. Not to evacuate waste during productive hours like early in the morning. To do that before people wake up from their bed. That is the instruction we have given. But then, apart from that, too, even more vehicles, the state has also proposed to procure waste vehicles, state-of-the-art vehicles, trucks, to evacuate this waste and make sure that no one is found anywhere by this our digitalization method.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Director. We have a few hands up, and so I'm going to give people the opportunity to ask their questions or give their feedback. And just to say, yes, this is interactive. So if you're on Zoom, just use the reactions icon to let us know if you'd like to ask a question or give some feedback. Also, you can do same on social media platforms as well. Okay, I'm going to unmute someone whose name is Buhari. So if you just want to go ahead, if it's Mr. or Mrs. or Haji Buhari, please just feel free to, share with us what you have.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Good
Can you hear me?
Loud.
Yeah,
okay, sorry, my name is actually Buhari. I was just being mischievous. My name is actually Edith Achibong, and I'm based in Calabar. I work in Calabar actually, and I noticed that your ministry, I don't know if it's your ministry, that's in charge of waste management fees. Is it your ministry, Honorable Commissioner?
No, not our ministry. They are under the Ministry of Environment.
Sir?
They are under the Waste Management Agency, works with the Ministry of Environment. It is an agency under the Ministry of Environment.
So it's supervised by the Ministry of Environment, which
Ministry of Environment, yes.
They're accountable. They answer to the Commissioner for Environment. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to find out the waste management fees that you charge companies in Calabar. What is it used for exactly? And because I know companies that operate in Calabar, they pay taxes to the state, if I'm not mistaken. And then their agency comes again and says you must pay waste management fee, which is separate from the taxes we usually pay. So I want to understand why there's this double taxation on companies operating in Calabar, given that the
issue of double taxation.
Sir?
that issue of double taxation is being frowned upon by the state government, the governor himself. We are trying to see how we can harmonize it.
What are they doing about it? Because you have the agents coming to offices and threatening to shut the place and do all sorts of things, you know. So if the governor is frowning, I mean, it's not just about frowning. They should put out a public announcement or something, or pass a law, not just frowning about it. Because as I'm telling you now, it's discouraging a lot of companies from investing in Cross River states, because the taxation in Cross River is so much. Honestly, you have several ministries, several ministries, several parastatals under ministries coming up with different things you have to pay, and if you don't pay, they threaten to shut your business. I mean, and we all know how expensive it is to run a business in Nigeria normally. I mean, let's when you look at your overhead, your normal overhead, you're not even adding other things, and then you come with all these taxes from. Yes, we know the states needs revenue, but I think they should find a way of the only way they can get revenue if companies can come to Cross River and invest, and therefore you have to create an enabling environment for companies to come and invest. But when you come up with all these taxes, why I was asking that question was because even with all the taxes we pay and the waste management fees we pay, if you go around Calabar, you still see heaps of refuse everywhere. You understand? Heaps of refuse. I keep giving an example of Mariam Markets. And the sad thing about Mariam Markets is there are traders selling all around those heaps of refuse, which is a serious health and safety risk, even for the people around there. And nothing seems to be done. I mean, Mariam Markets is one of the most popular places in Calabar. So if the government is saying it wants to be serious about tackling waste, I think you should start tackling it from places that are really visible. That's one of my contributions. And secondly, the people that go about disposing of waste. You come out in the morning and you see them causing traffic and everything, trying to dispose of waste. I think this thing should be done normally in the night when people are not around, are not moving about. You understand? So that because the inconvenience of coming out, you're rushing to work in the morning, and then you see there's this traffic, and you look ahead and you see people trying to clear waste and all of that. And also, if you people can also look into the thought of introducing waste bins. I think during the time of Donald Duke, sorry, they used to introduce these small waste bins at some along the intervals along the road, so that people could just throw in trash. People that are walking along the road, you know, instead of as against just dumping them on the road. So that's my suggestion for that. And please. The trash, the refuse heap at Mariam Market, please, you guys need to tackle that seriously, please.
Thank you very much.
Like I said, okay, thank you.
Yes, please respond.
Just like I said, the state have procured waste dump receptacles that will take care of that. That is number one. Number two, those who are going around defrauding members of the public on multiple tax, government is aware. We have set out machinery in motion to get them arrested. Last week, Thursday, hello,
sir. Are you still there? Okay, I think I will.
The same thing was being. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello? Sorry, call came in to distract. What I'm saying is that last week, Thursday, I was in IRS on this issue, multiple taxation. The state government is aware. We have set up machinery in motion to get those who are committing this crime arrested and to put a full stop to it. That is the action. Very soon, once they are arrested, they will be prosecuted according to the law of the land. That's number two.
Yeah, but Director, it seems to be, sorry to interrupt you, but from what Edet says, it seems to be that these are legitimate agencies of government coming to ask for these funds. So, you know, these are not invisible people. These are actually government officials coming to request
government officials
fees. According to what, if I understood what Edet said.
What is there is that whether government officials, anyone that does that is illegal. So we have set up machinery. In fact, we have set trap to get those involved arrested and prosecuted according to the law of the land. So we have set that in motion. Before it came out with that, we have already discussed that. We have already put machinery in motion. And in fact, the task force within a few weeks from now, the task force will be inaugurated on that, because the governor frowned so much on it. I will not want that in order not to discourage investors from coming to the state. 3, those evacuating waste, we have told them before now, we are going to have a meeting with them to evacuate their waste at night, not in the morning when we're during work hour. Because during the previous past administrations, you can never see truck evacuating waste in the morning or during productive hours. Usually at night, before you wake up from your bed, you see that you will not find any waste around. We have redoubled our effort to see that that is done very professionally.
Okay, all right. So let me bring on, I think we have Dr. Mrs. Anna Etta. Madam,
my name, hello?
Yes, sir.
You keep on saying director. I'm not the director, I'm the consultant to the Ministry of Environment.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you.
All right, so we have Dr. Mrs. Anna Etta. Madam, we tried to bring you on earlier, but I think you dropped off the Zoom at the point. So you're an academic, you're also an activist. I was saying earlier that you deal with figures, you deal with facts, you deal with research. I would like to hear from you your personal assessment of the environmental situation in Cross River State. We can't hear you.
I can't hear too.
Yeah. Okay, while we're giving her a bit of time to sort that out, maybe what I'll do, I'll just go through a few comments. So it's very interesting. We have people coming in to this conversation here from Uyo, and they're very exciting. We have, we have from Oweri, we have from Uyo, we have someone from Mbube, we have someone from Ogoja local government, we have from Oweri, and we have someone from Gombe State. Very interesting. All right. Okay, so in terms of so comments, questions, someone is asking what exactly is the plan? How is it being implemented, and how are we monitoring the effectiveness of this laudable plan and project? What is the articulated plan and time frame for this laudable plan? So I guess the person is referring to maybe some of the initiatives that were talked about by the consultant to the ministry. It seems up in the sky, as we usually say with previous administrations. However, only time will tell if the current government is sincere. A question that I would like to put to the consultant is this. Now, obviously, there are challenges with regard to waste evacuation in Cross River State, definitely in Calabar. I can't speak about other parts of Cross River State. Now, Cross River State has a benchmark. So, people would always reflect on how green and how clean the state was under the administration of Mr. Donald Duke. I don't recall under the administration of Donald Duke there being anything like environmental sanitation. My personal view is that environmental sanitation is a relic of military administrations. It's very authoritarian. It seems to have been in effect in Cross River State for maybe the last 12 months. Yet people are still complaining about the lack of effective waste disposal. So, consultant, if you would like to respond, please, on behalf of the ministry, what necessitated environmental sanitation, considering that, we already have a benchmark? What was it that the Duke administration did? Can't we simply go back there and just copy that template and execute it?
Okay, thank you. Just like I said earlier, when we came on board this present administration, we saw that we observed that the environment was very defective in terms of waste. In fact, there was some time last year, 2023, before this administration took over, there were a heap of waste, even at the market, blocking roads, so much that the state was at a state of embarrassment. So when we came, people had forgotten about environmental sanitation. They just thought there's there's nothing like environmental sanitation. When we came, we tried now to launch people back to the issue of environmental sanitation. That was why the first 2 months of our exercise were paddling people, creating awareness, going on radio, going on television, create awareness that, environmental sanitation has started again. I want to take the state back, or want to get better, rather than copying the template, because we have as soon as with population increase, you have a lot of waste being generated, especially at the markets. So when we came on board, we look at it and say, no, this thing can no longer continue. It can no longer be business as usual. So the state or residents are beginning to get used to environmental exercise, including motorists who will not have waste bin in their vehicles. So they don't throw waste anywhere. All your waste should be retained in the vehicle and you dispose them responsibly. So when we came on board, it was a difficult time, but then we started by creating awareness, having meetings with the market women, with the traditional institutions, with landlords, and all that. And we are getting there. We know that there are some logistical issues. These issues is what, before the end of, just like someone asked the timeline, before the end of third quarter of this year, or before the beginning of the fourth quarter, we are going to get all the logistical issue addressed, and that will make us going, because I know that part of the problem are this logistic equipment, because already the state is setting a very big gap, a very big wide margin for Cross River Seminar environment to get back on stream, to get residents back on stream on this environmental sanitary exercise. You see, as I said earlier, Cross River State is noted for cleanliness. Used so getting people for what they have, Cross River State is noted ancestrally. When you go to a place, they will tell you, are you from Calabar? Everybody is Calabar man. Whether you're from Aquarium, they say you're Calabar man. A Calabar man does not joke, woman does not joke cleanliness. We are known for that. I want to go back to that template that we had before, so that we can launch the state back into cleanliness. All what you have mentioned, all what that other speakers have mentioned are logistical issues. That's why I said we need infrastructural and institutional support system in order to move.
All right. Well, I will come back to you, because I'd really like to ask you some questions on that, because if you say it's a logistical issue, it's really in the hands of government. So people will generate waste. There's no question about that. Who will generate the waste? The question is, where do they take the waste to, and who evacuates the waste from that point? So it seems as if the logistics around evacuating the waste by the agencies responsible for that needs to be sorted out, because if people, I don't think if people are given designated receptacles to go and dump waste in, they will just dump them on the floor. Okay, so anyway, but we'll get back to that. We have a lot of hands raised up. So I'm going to bring in Blessing Ajake. If you can unmute yourself, please go ahead and speak. And if you can switch your video on, that would be preferred.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ayo. Okay, so I was going to emphasize or talk on the Mara Market waste disposal as well, but a lot of people have already mentioned that, and I think that's a huge problem as well. So, but I want to talk about this. You mentioned that you have given out 300 receptacles already but I've not seen any in my area. I stay at
No,
Mariam.
I say we are procured, but we are yet to receive it.
Okay, okay,
we have
okay.
received.
Yeah,
I said
so
we
I
are
was
procured, we are yet to
okay,
receive.
okay.
Doctor, so in the time being, what are people expected to do with their waste?
Okay. In the month of March, we discussed with the EU delegations on what we intend to do with our waste. We intend to convert the waste to energy.
No, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just saying, Blessing says that there are no receptacles on her street or close within her neighborhood. Between
close
now,
to where?
Marian area, Odikang,
Mariam.
I believe, yes.
Okay, Mariam by Odikang.
So when waste is generated, what should Blessing do with that waste since there are no receptacles?
No, what you say is that the waste contractors, for now, there is no receptacle. In the next 1 month, we'll be in receipt of those receptacles, and we have identified those areas where there are no receptacles. Some of those waste areas are new waste areas. Some of the receptacles and some of the ones we packed, they were already bad. So government will have to retrieve them, and some we have to retrieve them. So we have already documented areas where they will have to put the receptacles, and then new waste areas where the receptacles. Because sometimes, in fact, we are going to be very tough with the waste evacuators this time around. We are going to be very, very tough.
Sorry to interrupt you again, sir, but I want to just know, so should Blessing take her waste from her premises and dump it in the street?
No, sir.
Before the waste receptacles
No,
come?
sir.
What should she do?
No, we will come for the waste. In fact, this discussion will form part of the action we are going to take. This discussion, we are going to take immediate action on it.
Okay, thank you. Blessing, are you
Thank
done?
God, tomorrow is Monday. We are going to take immediate action on that.
Are you done, or do you have any further comment to make, Blessing?
No. Okay, I also wanted to ask if there's any plan for a recycling facility to be put on in Cross River State. I mean, to manage waste disposal and then recycle waste. I've not heard anything like that.
Well, the plan we have is to convert the waste to energy. In fact, the plan is to convert about 55 megawatts of electricity using those wastes. And very soon, to convert those wastes maybe to organic fertilizer and other things, that one is still in the pipeline. But first, we want to convert those wastes to energy. And the moment, part of the things we intend to do too is to, especially plastic waste, is to monetarily induce it. For instance, if you come with 1 ton of plastic, you know how much you get. Before you know, you won't find plastic anywhere. So it's already in our plan.
Okay. All right. Let me give other people the opportunity to come on the conversation. So we have Efyomita. Please, if you would kindly speak now.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Please, we can hear you. Carry on, and if you have a question to ask, go ahead and ask it. If you have a comment to make, go ahead, please.
My questions is on the real power of digitalization of the waste. I've heard the consultant mentioning it, but before I will come there, I've heard him saying that they will be very tough on their workers. But I could have asked him a question: have they made any safety modalities for the workers? Because this is one of also the another problem. The guys or those boys that will be working, they are human beings like us. I have heard somebody saying they should work in the night. What is even about your own has that concern? Is there anything measures? It's not all about policy. And we also talk about the health conditions of those guys that are working. Apart from that, okay, the next thing is also I wanted to ask. I think the consultant have tried to touch on it also, is still this issue of the waste. I think there should be something of maybe a proper orientation, because I think there is a program that I also do organize here from my own location here in Ugoja here, that we have to do enlightenment campaign to the youth and also even the school students, only especially S1, SS2, on the climate change, the adverse effect of it, deforestation and all whatnot, all still tilting towards environment. Now, like the consultant, I could have like maybe you will come back and answer us this question because it's very, very important. I'm still asking the real power of us driving the energy from the west, the real power of us having fertilizer, the real power of us having all this. Even the plastic we are talking, we can use it to also build the house. There are so many things. When we talk of environment waste, it's very, very my own area too. It's not all about talking. I'm talking about now the action plan. Will it be feasible? Will it be done? Let it not be a paperwork. Already there is already a ground, or what I could call a foundation for this already laid down. Let's see the working and not the talking. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Effiong, thanks very much. Let me bring on I don't know what your name is, Zelmi 2201116TG.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, sir. Sorry, I'm just joining in a little bit late. My name is Deacon Comrade Ekpenyong. I'm an environmentalist, and as soon as I saw this wonderful program, I was very much interested. Immediately tried to connect. I want to commend you. This is a very good movement. It's very, very important for Cross River State to be able to attain all our past and lost glories. I want to commend the consultant, Dr. Yo, but I want to mention here that there's a question you asked, where the host asked, and was asking something about, I don't know if I can remember, let me check that chat. Was asking you, okay, something about the last administration concerning sanitation exercise, if it's necessary. Why can't we go back? And I think consultant, you didn't give us the answer. To me, Donald, you set up a real good pace for us to follow, even though past administrations have not been following, maybe should I say, have not been doing this continuity bit. But you should answer that question, because to me, the sanitation exercise is not really necessary if all the acts, if all the plans that Donald Duke had kept in place are implemented. Those things will help to address waste management. There's a concept in waste management that says you create, you evacuate waste to dump in another place. That place you dump this waste, what are you doing? Is there a dump site? Is there a strategically placed dump site where you have all the scraps, iron scraps, you have all the plastic scraps, you have all the biodegradable scraps, you have all the papers, you have all the plastics being dumped, where people can go to and take these products or this waste to and dump them. And you have a very wonderful plan talking about energy. Well, I'm not going to discourage us on that part, but the most important thing is, it's just like when you want to build a house. Before you build a skyscraper, you need to have cement, you need to have iron rods, you need to have your chippings, you need to have sand. I'm giving you practical steps about waste. You have not generated the plastics that you are talking about. You have not generated the organic waste. You have not even generated the place you are going to store the organic waste so that it does not impact on the environment with methane gas. All those things are yet to be done. Those are the frameworks. Those are the directions. Someone will say this government is actually doing something in preparation for the said energy, for the said compost waste, for the said fertilizers. You have that, there's nothing to show. So another thing I want to ask also, You talked about receptacles, 300 receptacles. I can remember in the past administration, all the receptacles were all made of iron, which is a major thing that impacts on the environment again, creating more waste, creating more problems. Have we talked about the water in the ground where all these receptacles were kept and they were rusted, they were broken, and those things, when it rains, because of our environment, because of the kind of climate we have, it drips into the receptacles. The receptacles react with the iron, the water reacts, and everything begins to decompose, rust everywhere, dripping into the water, dripping into our sewage, dripping into our gutters and our water table that we all drill boreholes everywhere now. We borehole everywhere, and we drill it and drink, and we say we want to make Cross River clean. What kind of receptacles? Are they going to be made of biodegradable receptacles, or are they of mass plastic? Or we are still going to see iron being brought again to be kept on the roads? I'm telling you these things because those are the things that have been bothering me as an environmentalist, but I never saw a platform to air out my own view. This is what I studied, and I passionately want to do something about it. And I thank God this platform has come. So what are you going to do? What kind of receptacles are we talking about? Because if you are bringing back the steel, the iron kind of rusted iron, not stainless steel, but rusted iron kind of receptacles, that means Cross River State is not yet ready to make this state clean again. Now, I want to also mention some areas that have been polluting the environment. One company I want to mention, with due apology, is the flour mills. I don't know if you normally pass through that area.
Yes.
Sometimes it happens in the mornings and sometimes it happens in the evening, where they release a very bad odor into the environment. And I heard a brother talking about tax. This is not all about tax or all about environmental tax. What is government doing about such exposure, such release of pungent, smelling, I don't know how to call it, into the environment, into the atmosphere? And these things go straight into our streams, destroying our aquatic bodies, destroying all those species that we like to eat. If you go to any stream now, any water bodies now, and you catch any fish and you do proper analysis, you see that most of the fishes that we are eating has so many impurities in them, so many contaminants in them, and we chew it and we eat it, and we don't know why we are getting all this cancer and every other thing that are coming up to our bodies. So, consultants, there's a lot of work to be done. Now, another thing I want to also draw your attention to is
I'm going to have to. I know you have a number.
Please let me just make this point clear so that wherever you can do and wherever you can.
One last point, yes, please go on.
Please permit me for just two. I want to talk about the marina area. You know, I'm from Creektown. I travel a lot. I cross the sea to Creektown, and I see what is going on by the marina, where they scavenge all kinds of wreckage, ships and all that. Then those people who are selling by the streams, by the river there, and what they do, what is the Ministry of Environment doing to curtail the extent of contamination that is going on there? All forms of unsafe acts are going on there, and nothing is being done about it. So what is the ministry doing? Then one last thing I want to point out. You know, in the ministries, a lot of workers have retired. If you go into most ministries, you don't expect your director, even though now they are encouraging directors to clean their offices. We are talking about sanitation. That is where sanitation should start. The lowest who are supposed to be doing those jobs and to be perfect and be passionate and proud of their job, a lot of them have resigned. Cleaners going not doing because they were not able to do that. So what is the ministry doing in terms of bringing back cleaning, proper cleaning of our environment, of our office? Because people that used to do those cleaning are no longer there. What we have are directly in their office who are doing their cleaning. So for now, I'll just rest my case there.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. there are many questions for you, but let me just take one last hand up, and then after that, I'll give you the opportunity to respond to as many of these questions as you can. So there's someone iPhone. I'm going to unmute you if you can identify yourself and go ahead and give your comments. iPhone.
All right. Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, evening.
All right. Thank you. My name is Wisdom Umina Sumuko. Let me begin by commending the Ministry of Environment for...
Sorry, Wisdom, where are you joining us from?
Okay, I'm joining from Port Harcourt.
Okay. All right, please go on.
All right, thank you. So let me begin by commending the Ministry of Environment for deeming it very necessary to give members of the public an opportunity to interface with the ministry. You know, it demonstrates some level of accountability and responsiveness to the issues bordering on environmental, sanitation, and climate change. Thank you very much. Yeah. And may I also commend the consultant for, attempting to address most of the silent issues and concerns raised by members of the audience. My concern first would be on the issue of environmental sanitation. I remember I have someone raised this question and asked, how productive has it been? Because we made mention of the template used by the Donald Duke administration without necessarily having to impose monthly environmental sanitation. And I hold a view that the imposition of monthly environmental sanitation, it's not suitable for a city like Calabar. For me, I think the issues of community environmental sanitation is communal. It's more suitable for rural communities and not for a city that, seeks to thrive on a commercial city like Calabar. Because if I imagine shutting down a business for a weekend, sometimes almost 5, 6, 7 hours. So it's counterproductive. It doesn't in any way demonstrate, the sincere desire of the government to attract investors. So I think one of the ways we can address this issue should be on prosecute persons who do not comply with the environmental standards of the state, rather than generally impose environmental sanitation everywhere. And we can also look at the human rights implications on it. So if you're restricting movement on a Saturday, where persons are telling taxpayers who pay money for waste disposals, after paying taxes, you have the state government still has to compel you to stay in your house because the state government wants you to, perform some sort of environmental sanitation. I think the ministry also has to look at the human rights implication and also look at how counterproductive it is to the issues raised as regards, making the state a major commercial city and then the tourism potentials of the state too. Right, thank you very much. That's one point. And then I think it's important also the ministry makes provision for issues as regards hotlines for waste disposal. So somebody made mention of the situation in Olikang. Had it not been for a forum like this, it would have been difficult to even know of that concern. So there should be hotlines where, for instance, if there are waste heaps in Calabar South, that I can simply call and say, the ministry, please, we are having this kind of situation in Calabar South. Because most time when people dump this refuse on the ground and then it stays for a longer period of time and it rains. So the rain ends up sweeping it into our drainages. So, but if we have hotlines where members of the public can call, I think such policies would also help to demonstrate how preemptive, the ministry is in tackling issue of waste disposal and the longer effect it will have on the environment. And then lastly, I talked about on the need to prosecute persons who violate it. It is deliberate. We have seen instances where there is a waste bin and then somebody goes and then send maybe a minor to dispose the waste and they throw it on the ground. These are also issues which we cannot blame the ministry for. So if we have proper legal machineries on ground where persons who violate environmental standards of this nature are being prosecuted, it sends a message, and the message should be a message of deterrence. So I think the ministry also has to work on that. But in a nutshell, I must commend the ministry for a job well done so far. And just like Oliver Twist, we'll keep asking for more because our expectations are high. We met a very high expectation across River State where we could always speak boldly and proudly of. And so our expectations will continue to be high because we expect so much from the ministry. But in a nutshell, we commend the ministry for a job well done. And thank you very much for granting me audience.
Okay, Wisdom, very well spoken. Dr. Edith, I think I will come back to you and please give you the opportunity to respond.
Okay. Okay.
Please go on, sir.
Okay. First, there is no environment is everybody's business. There is no major city or commercial city that will not have environmental issues like dumping of waste. Even Lagos State used to do the monthly environmental exercise every Thursday in Lagos. We in the last Saturday of the month is that.
Sorry, how long ago, sir? How long? When?
We started that sanitation exercise in the month of November last year.
No, I mean in Lagos. In Lagos, you say Lagos.
In Lagos, Thursday, every Thursday.
When was that?
Thursday, this administration in Lagos.
You're saying that currently in Lagos, every Thursday, there's environmental sanitation.
Environmental exercise, yes.
And people are not allowed to move.
No, the thing, this exercise is just for Cross River State is 3 hours, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. So it's not that we shut down the whole day. Even keeping your environment filthy is also against human rights.
Yeah, but don't you think
there's no human right concern here because we are not brutalizing people. The only thing that we have set up a mobile court. As you are caught, you are being tried by the mobile court.
Yeah, but I think that there's human rights implication because if the movement of people, I mean, people.
No, the movement of people is restricted for only 3 hours.
Yes.
And there is no brutality in the act.
Yeah, but
there is no brutality in the act, and it is in the state edit, environmental edit. So it's just for 3 hours. And that is done peacefully and responsibly.
Okay, so let me ask you on that. Let me take you, because I'm passionate about this environmental sanitation because I don't believe in it personally. Now, if the receptacles are not there to evacuate the waste that is generated from that exercise, what is the point of that exercise? So I evacuate, I clean up my environment, I clean up my home, my immediate surroundings, I take it out to the road and I dump it there because there's no way for me to evacuate it. What is the point doing that? At the very least, don't you think that the Ministry of Environment should suspend that exercise until the receptacles are available all over the states?
We are not saying there are no receptacles. There are receptacles, but there are receptacles that are bad, which we took. And just like someone said that the receptacle should be one that will not be liable to corrosion. So we are not just procuring anything. We are doing in such a way that it will have no impact on the environment because some will be on the floor and it will get rusted and get into the soil. That's number one. Two, just like I said, you mentioned human rights concern. We don't have any issue of human rights because we're not protecting people. It's just for 3 hours from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. every last Saturday of the month. While in the market is once every week. They have to clean. And then where these receptacles, they will have receptacles. It's just that there are few areas where they segregate about, and there are few areas too where there are new waste dump sites, which we have identified. We have identified, and as I speak with you, in the next 1 month, we are going to get all the areas restored who do not have waste receptacle or who have new areas with no receptacles. We are going to solve that. And one of the things somebody mentioned, where you take waste from here and dump it the other side, there's what we call waste tracking, waste manifest. We have developed that already. The present area where waste have been dumped in at Lemna, the government intends to relocate that place. Like you mentioned, scrap metal, biodegradable waste, plastic. We have scrap metal agency in the states. That's their work. Their duty is that. And then where we are relocating into, where we are relocating into, government plan to relocate it, maybe by beginning of next year, to relocate that area to another area where there will be partitioning of the new waste dump site to address the issue, because what he's talking about is waste segregation. You segregate the biodegradable waste from the plastic waste or biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. So like one other person made mention, I think I've forgotten what the other man mentioned. So we are acting within the ambit of the law, of the state Ministry of Environment law. We are not violating any, we are not brutalizing anybody. We are doing it responsibly and accountably.
Okay,
So
I wanted to come back. Yeah.
In all this, the Donadu template, the Donadu template was such that there was a kind of Donadu template was such that it's not that the Donadu template is more superior. Maybe because we're trying to, for a long time now, I don't want to mention any administration name, for a long time, we've not had this kind of exercise we have had. So people have forgotten about monthly sanitation exercise. People have forgotten about it. So we're trying to bring them back to the consciousness of keeping the environment clean, green.
It is a relic. It's a relic of military rule, sir. It's a relic of military rule, and the people of Cross River State don't need a monthly environmental sanitation exercise to keep their environment.
You said Cross River State don't need it.
Going by history, about history, it's not something that we need, and it impacts on the economy of the state. So let's take someone who maybe is an event planner, for example. Okay, you deny the person 3 hours on a Saturday. Within those 3 hours, that person could have, it could be that person would have had 3 events or 2 events to manage in a day from which they would earn income. But all of a sudden, because 3 hours are unavailable to them, they can only manage 1 event. So there's that impact across the economy for, in my opinion, no value whatsoever in terms of improved quality of environment and sanitation. But that's just a personal opinion.
Okay, that is personal. You see, it has a lot of impact. Remember, it's once a month, not every week. It's just once a month. For the 3 hours of restriction of movement, both human and vehicle movement is a lot.
Okay,
so
let me
because
we're conscious of the fact that we have limited time. Let me just, David Etom, I think you have a comment to make. If you can make it in 1 minute, then we were not able to have the participation of Dr. Anna Etta, but she recorded an audio which I'd like to play out. And then we'll take some closing remarks and bring the conversation to a close. Mr. David Etom, please, 1 minute.
Thank you. Less than 1 minute. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. My name is David Etom. I'm the president of the Calabar Chamber of Commerce. The gentleman that was just talking about the relocation of Lemna, it's a good idea, but I think the degree of degradation or contamination that has occurred by Lemna, what is the plan for remediation when you relocate it? And then what is the plan, the new dump site you are going to? What is the environmental impact management program or plan that will be there that will ensure that the dump site you are using, we don't have leaching where contaminants leak into the groundwater and then begin to create problems in the groundwater. Cross River State naturally has very good groundwater, but extended pollution from waste that is poorly managed will definitely cause a significant damage to that groundwater, and the next thing we'll now start seeing people having all kinds of diseases because of the water that they're exposed to. So I would like to understand what exactly is the plan of the government. First, when you relocate Lemna, what is the plan for the remediation of that land? Because for a long time Lemna is what Lemna is today. What is the plan that government has to fix and restore the land into its health, and then the new place you are going? What is the plan to prevent that the errors of Lemna will not reoccur in the new place? Thank you very much.
Okay.
I rest.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Etom. Sorry, sir, before you respond, let me just play this audio and then you can respond during your closing.
Think Silicon Valley. It's often said that most of the products from that locality are applications of research findings from the university.
Are you guys able to hear the audio being played?
No, I can't hear you.
Yes, we can hear it.
Okay, all right. So let me play this audio. So this is from Dr. Anna Etta, who was supposed to join this conversation, but is in transit. So she did some recordings and sent to us.
I mean, that's exactly why we are here. We have tools through our researches, training, and advocacy. And like personally, I'm an environmental activist. I advocate for best practices and I make my voice heard at every opportunity, like what is happening right now. In our Constitution, Section 20 of the 1999 Constitution, the state is empowered to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the water, air and land, forest and wildlife of Nigeria. This protection is achieved by applying research findings from the academia on global best practices, by educating students about environmental issues, fostering environmental literacy. The citizenry also needs to be knowledgeable about environmental challenges and ways to ameliorate them so they won't throw their debt into gutters and litter the entire environment with domestic waste. I believe academics are involved in all tiers of government in environmental policy development to give professional advice and proper solutions. Capacity building is another important role the academia plays because field scientists are being trained to implement and enforce these environmental policies.
Okay, did we hear that? We did, okay, cool.
Yes,
Silicon Valley. It's often said that most of the products from that locality are applications or research findings from the universities around there. Like our area said, there are researches ongoing in universities and colleges and institutes that, if applied, will mitigate environmental challenges around us. It's simply a matter of handshaking between government and the academia. The rest is toast.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. We'll begin to bring this conversation to a close, but I think it's been a very engaging conversation, and we're very grateful to the Ministry of Environment for its representation here today. This sort of engagement with with the public is very important, and we try to do this across all the ministries, all sectors of life within Cross River State. Mary, I was trying to get to Mary Alolo, but it looks as if she's dropped off. Yeah, Doctor, if you can, please just give us, your closing remarks. And I know that there are some outstanding questions which you might want to answer as well. You may use this opportunity to do so also.
Okay, thank you very much. First, I want to thank you. The last man, the man that spoke about relocating Lemna, the wisdom site. I've spoken on that the state government intend to relocate the site to another area and restore the present area. First, before we do that, we are going to use environmental management tool, one which we call PIA, post-impact assessment, to find out the degree of impact where the area was being used as a dump site. Two, for the new area, for the new waste dump site, we are going to do environmental impact assessment of the area and then manage the area in such a way that it will be in consonance with the global international best practices. I want to say that this exercise is a lot more. We will continue to subject the state's sanitation exercise to public comment and responses. I want to say that is a big thank you and continue to pray for us, for the state, because we want to make the state the cleanest state in the country and perhaps Africa as a continent. I want to say that for we, environment is a business and it is everybody's business. So we must keep it clean, we must keep it green, we must keep it healthy in line with global best practices. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. There's a comment that I'd like to read out. There have been so many comments, and I think the level of engagement during today's conversation shows how passionate people are about, the issues pertaining to environment. And I think that we would love to bring the commissioner back, or whoever might represent the commissioner back, maybe in 3 months' time, because I think people
In
still
3
have
months'
a
time?
lot. Yeah, I would say within that sort of time frame, because people still have a lot of questions. There's still a lot of discussions that I think people would like to have around sanitation. But this person is saying, this is Tara Henshaw saying, my concern is Calabar South. There are a lot fewer waste bins in Calabar South. One waste bin caters for 4 to 5 streets. And when we heard of 300 bins donated by NDDC, we were excited. However, I don't think we have seen up to 10 of these bins in the streets of Calabar, especially Calabar South. So that's just some feedback. Okay, so Dr. Hannah, we've played the audio. Unfortunately, would have loved to engage with her on the conversation, but I want to use this opportunity to thank panelists, thank the representative or the commissioner of the Ministry of Environment. I think it speaks volumes about the ministry when they are ready to send people to engage with the public, when they are ready to engage with the public and answer questions directly from the public. So that's a good thing, and we commend the ministry for that. From this conversation, I think it's obvious that there's still a lot of work. People still have very high expectations which remain unmet. But I think it's been good hearing from everyone who's contributed to this conversation this evening. I want to thank you all for joining. Thank you to everyone who's listening in on social media platforms. And I will hand over to Kennedy Omojefe to just take us through a few announcements before we round up.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank the Ministry of Environment, our panelists. We really appreciate your time. So this has been brought to you by TCRM. TCRM is the Cross River Movement, and we're a non-governmental organization that focuses on improving the quality of governance, and we create these platforms and bring these programs to connect the people with government officials, and where we can all brainstorm solutions from people from various aspects in the state. So this is a platform, and you can always connect with other activities. We have had various ministries in the past, and we'll be having some other ministries. You can find the recordings of all our programs and this on our YouTube channel, which is Cross River Move. YouTube, just go to Cross River Move, YouTube/Cross River Move. You can also connect with our website, which is www.crossrivermove.com, at www.crossrivermove.com. And visit us on all our social media platforms. This conversation also is streamed on Facebook at crossrivermove.com, on Instagram at crossriver_move. Our next conversation will be coming in fortnight, so we do this every 2 weeks. So join our platforms and you'll be well updated on the next conversation to join and contribute your voice to how we can all promote good governance in Cross River State. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
All right, thanks very much, Kennedy. So just to say, yes, our aim is to hold this every 2 weeks. Of course, sometimes we are completely dependent on responses from various ministries or various commissioners. So we may say 2 weeks. Sometimes you may not see us for a while. It's not because we've abandoned the vision. It is simply because we cannot work out a schedule with maybe a commissioner, for example. So thanks very much for keeping faith with us. We will, keep you informed about the next event. And if you're interested in promoting governance in Cross River State and you'd like to volunteer for us, please get in touch with us. Send us a comment in the chat or email us at info@crossrivermove.com, or get in touch with us on our social media channels. We'd love to have you on board to help drive better governance in Cross River State. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to our panelists.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you. Okay.
Very much, everyone.